I quickly climbed the tree. I was in a dark forest. There was a growl coming from below that made my blood freeze. So creepy. I grabbed a branch, but it suddenly broke. Ah! A thought flashed through my mind. That was the end. Hi, I'm Helen. I've always been quiet and shy. Nobody paid any attention to me at school. See that guy? That's my crush, Jacob. We might as well exist in different worlds. I'm the plainest girl ever, and he hangs out with the coolest guys. I wanted to become popular and make him notice me. I succeeded, but let's start at the beginning. One day, I came home from school and saw a beautiful girl I didn't recognize. She had long hair and bright eyes. Hello, who are you? This is Michelle. She is my friend's daughter. She's going to stay with us for a while. She's just arrived from France. They live near the French Alps. Wow, that was so cool. However, it soon turned out she was anything but cool. Michelle and I had to share my room. I walked in and was stunned. Instead of textbooks, there was a mountain of makeup on the table. Michelle had dumped my clothes on the far shelf and took over the entire closet. You don't have any normal clothes. It's all so cheap and lame. I could help you update your wardrobe. Look at my French cosmetics and clothes. Her words infuriated me, but I tried to be polite. Thanks, I'm good. The next day, it turned out that Michelle would be studying in my class. My parents had asked the principal to let her attend classes. We came to the school cafeteria. Michelle headed straight towards the table in the center. Damn it. You can't do that. Cool guys are sitting there. Then I should be at the table too. No one ever sat at that table except Jacob and his friends. I had no idea how they would react to Michelle. However, that was her problem. I went to get food, and then the cool kids appeared. Who the hell are you? Why are you sitting here? I'm the new girl. You don't mind if I keep you company, do you? Now they would put her in her place. Wait a minute, what was going on? Had they just smiled and sat down next to her? I watched, stunned, as they sweetly chatted with Michelle and even brought her food. I couldn't believe my eyes. Soon the whole school was talking about her. Boys were drawn to her accent and appearance. She flirted with everyone. In just a few days, she managed to become the most popular girl at school. It infuriated the other girls as well. What did they see in that French upstart? To add insult to injury, Michelle was fake as hell. She acted nice in front of everyone, but at home, she was insufferable. One day, I came down to the living room and heard her talking to my mom. Did you know that Helen failed a math test? Something needs to be done about her academic performance. What? I was one of the best students in my class. That test was an exception. Helen, is that true? One more failed test and you're grounded. I was furious, but Michelle just smirked. A couple of days after that, she was up to no good again. Helen hardly ever talks to anyone at school. She's so insecure. She should go to therapy. What are you talking about? Go see a psychologist yourself. Helen, you're being so aggressive. Maybe you should go to a few therapy sessions. I didn't want to be rude, so I went to my room. A couple of days later, Michelle decided to show off at school again and started telling the popular guys about her life in France. We often had picnics outdoors. Let's throw a party in the woods. They immediately supported her idea. Then, Michelle saw me standing nearby. Helen, ma chérie, don't you want to join us? She definitely had an ulterior motive, but I agreed anyway because I wanted to hang out with Jacob. We came to the forest in the late afternoon, spread a blanket on the ground, and put snacks on it. I was just about to talk to Jacob when Michelle intervened. Jay, hand me those napkins, please. Oh, mon cher, thank you. I was so sick of her using French words. When it got dark, we lit a fire and started playing Truth or Dare. At first, the tasks were easy, but then everything changed. It was my turn, and I chose action. As luck would have it, Michelle was the one coming up with the task. You need to go further into the forest. Don't take a flashlight with you and spend 15 minutes in the darkness. Isn't that too much? There are wolves here. She can always refuse to do it. So Helen, do you accept the challenge? I couldn't back down and embarrass myself in front of Jacob. I'll do it. I left my phone on the blanket and left the clearing. Gradually, the fire disappeared from sight. Then suddenly, I heard a rustle behind me. Calm down, Helen. Someone had probably decided to follow and watch over me. I squared my shoulders and pretended I wasn't afraid. But then I heard a growl and saw a silhouette that looked like a wolf. I forgot all about the game and ran back towards the clearing, but I couldn't see the fire anywhere. Damn it, was I lost? I heard the growl again and felt even more terrified. I came across a tall tree and started to climb it. At some point, the branch I was standing on cracked and broke off. I hung on with one arm. Then I pulled myself up and wrapped my legs around the trunk. That was close. After a couple of moments, I decided to look down. I expected to see a wolf, but a dog was standing there. A huge one. It looked like a Great Dane. It lay down right under the tree, and it seemed in no hurry to leave. No one came to help me. I had to risk it and carefully get down. Just imagine, the dog turned out to be friendly. He wagged his tail and buried his face into my palm. I patted him hesitantly. Hey, buddy, what am I going to do with you? I had no idea where to go. The dog suddenly grabbed my sleeve and started dragging me along. Trusting a stray dog seemed crazy, but I had no choice. After a while, we came out of the forest. Now that it wasn't that dark, I saw that the dog looked well groomed. Maybe he'd run away? But why didn't he have a collar then? I brought him home and left him in the yard. Michelle had come back earlier and told my mom all sorts of nonsense. Helen left and we didn't know where she gone. Why didn't you pick up your phone? It's all Michelle's fault. She left me in the woods and made me leave my phone behind. Nonsense. Stop shifting the blame. I had no words. I ran to my room and found a phone on my bed. Michelle was such a snake. About 15 minutes later, I sneaked into the kitchen and took food from the refrigerator. I went out into the yard and started feeding the Great Dane. Michelle suddenly appeared on the porch. Of course, she immediately ratted me out to my parents. Helen brought a dangerous dog home. Make it leave right now. No, he saved me, so now I'll take care of him. We used to have a dog. His house was still in our yard, and I let the Great Dane stay in it. My parents were outraged, but in the end, they left me alone. The next day, I tried to find his owners, but with no success. I was scrolling through the city website when Jacob came up to me. How did you get back home yesterday? I couldn't believe he was talking to me. A new friend helped me get out of the forest. The whole company heard our conversation. They wondered who I was talking about, but I chose to stay mysterious and kept silent. After school, I brought the Great Dane to the vet. Turned out he was healthy. That made me happy. But I was in for another unpleasant surprise at home. Michelle had told my mom that I had no taste, and Mom had listened to her. Now there were only boring dresses and strict skirts in my closet. I was so furious. Who gave you the right to rummage through my things? It's high time you updated your wardrobe. This is a nightmare. I'm not wearing that. I got so mad I took my savings and stormed out of the house. Time to update my wardrobe, huh? I would show them. To spite everyone, I decided to completely change my look. I dyed my hair a bright color and bought a bunch of bright clothes. I came home late and sneaked into my room unnoticed. I finally got lucky, and Michelle was already asleep. In the morning, I put the Great Dane on a leash and left the house early. I was tired of being a wallflower. I wanted to rebel and show up Michelle. On the way to school, all the passersby turned around to look at me. My appearance in the classroom caused a real stir. Everyone stared at me and the Great Dane in shock. However, the teacher ruined all my fun. Get this beast out of here. I had to take him to the porch and tie him to the railing. A huge crowd gathered around me at recess. I'd never received so much attention in my life. Your new look is amazing. Where did you find the Great Dane? Can I take a selfie with him? It was amazing how much life could change thanks to the color of your hair and a dog. It might be hard to believe, but I quickly became no less popular than Michelle. Of course, that made her angry. She started getting me in trouble with my parents even more often. Look at Helen. She's turned into a rebel. Mom got scared and dragged me to a psychologist. I agreed to go, but brought the Great Dane with me. Oddly enough, the session went fine. I calmly answered all the questions, and the psychologist was satisfied. However, the dog ruined everything. He was usually calm, but for some reason he started barking when I got there. I had to put him out the door. Your daughter is fine. She is a teenager, so a bit of rebellion is to be expected. The next day, I noticed that Michelle had started wearing even shorter dresses to school than usual. She spent hours getting ready in front of the mirror. She also focused on her studies and even got the highest score in chemistry. Wait, our chemistry teacher was very young. Had he fallen for her pretty face? Long story short, Michelle tried to get everyone to talk about her again. We became real enemies. One day, I was about to go for a walk with my dog when I suddenly noticed he was kind of sluggish. He refused to go anywhere, didn't want to play, and kept drinking water. I didn't understand what was going on, and I accidentally found an empty pack of poison in the bushes. You did this. What did the dog ever do to you? Are you crazy? I didn't come close to your pet monster. Soon it happened again. I came back home and couldn't find the dog. I had to search all of the nearest neighborhoods. I got lucky. One neighborhood had seen him being taken away to an animal control officer. I called them and barely managed to save him. Did you kick him out on the street? That dog almost died because of you. I told you I had nothing to do with it. Of course, I didn't believe her. A couple of days later, the principal suddenly gathered all the high school students in the main hall. The sponsors of our school are organizing a trip to a ski resort for the senior classes. It's absolutely free. Everyone was delighted, especially Michelle. Oh, that is so great. I grew up near the French Alps, so I'm great at skiing. Unlike her, I was bad at it, so I just walked along the slope. To my surprise, I noticed Jacob nearby. He was alone. That was my chance. I had to become popular. Maybe now he wouldn't make fun of me? Jacob, hi. I've been meaning to tell you for a long time that I really like you. Jacob raised his eyebrows in surprise. Then our classmate ran up to us. Hey, let's go. Michelle is doing some awesome tricks. Sorry, can we talk later? Jacob left. I felt crushed and could barely hold back angry tears. Michelle really was great at skiing. I watched her from afar. At some point, she noticed me and skied closer. I propose a competition, ma chérie. Whoever gets on the slope the fastest wins. The loser publicly admits defeat. I knew there was no way I'd win, but my pride wouldn't let me back down from a challenge. A lot of people came to watch us. Michelle quickly pulled ahead. She was showing off a lot, while I was skiing slowly. It was clear I would lose, but then something happened. Michelle suddenly twisted her leg, screamed loudly, and fell into the snow. She couldn't get up. I managed to beat her. I finished first! Before Michelle could publicly admit defeat, a doctor ran up to her and took her away to the medical building. We soon found out she had broken her leg. When Michelle returned to the base, our classmates surrounded her. Everyone was trying to help her, even the chemistry teacher. It was unpleasant to watch. I was about to turn away when I suddenly noticed something odd. For some reason, Michelle's eyes were different colors. The melted snow had ruined her makeup, and her red pimples became visible. Do you wear colored contacts? You weren't a beauty after all. Our classmates heard my words and took a closer look at her. The boys winced. Michelle noticed, then pounced on me. You're so annoying, I hate you! She jerked violently, and something no one was expecting happened. Her wig suddenly flew off her head. It turned out her long hair was fake too. Ah! Don't look at me! All of you turn away! Wait a minute, where was her French accent? Did you fake an accent for attention? Everyone started laughing at Michelle. The boys immediately stepped away from her. Michelle suddenly reached towards our chemistry teacher. Nick, don't leave me! Nick? Had she just called her teacher by his name? Everyone was shocked. The teacher turned red. It became clear who Michelle was wearing short dresses for and why she was getting high scores. I came back home in a great mood, but my dog was missing again. Michelle definitely couldn't have done anything. She had been with me. My parents hadn't seen anything. I called animal control, but to no avail. Then I decided to search the streets. I tried not to get my hopes up, but eventually luck smiled on me. I was passing by an abandoned warehouse when I suddenly heard a dog bark. I opened the door and the Great Dane ran out to meet me. Who had locked him in there? Archie? I turned around and saw a boy. The Great Dane barked joyfully and ran towards him. I was so confused. Who are you? My name is Thomas. This is my dog. It is? I found him in the woods a few days ago. My father recently remarried. Archie took an instant dislike to my new stepmother. She did everything to get rid of him. One day, Archie disappeared. She must have brought him to the woods and left him there. Thank you for taking care of him. You found the damn thing after all. Wait a minute, was that my psychologist? Is that your stepmother? Yes. Were you trying to get rid of him again? Was that why you locked him in the warehouse? What a lucky mutt. Yes, I locked him up. I brought him to the forest. I tore off the posters and turned on call forwarding so that you wouldn't find him. Thought I'd finally got rid of him. But then Helen brought him to the session, so I decided to get rid of him for good. But neither the poison nor the animal control service took care of the problem. So that was all you're doing? Let's go, there's no use talking to her anymore. Yeah, it seems she wasn't right in the head since she was so fixated on the dog. The dog stayed with its real owner. I'd grown very attached to him, so Thomas allowed me to visit him. Soon Michelle's parents found out about her injury and decided to visit us. We were sitting in the living room when the principal suddenly called them. Michelle's behavior is unacceptable. She flirted with the chemistry teacher. She has to change. Michelle's parents immediately wilted. I'm sorry we didn't tell you right away, but this isn't the first time this happened. Michelle acted the same way at her school in France, which is why we sent her here. We hoped she would change, but she's at it again. Soon they took Michelle back home. She was really mad, and I maliciously waved goodbye to her. My parents and I started getting along again. I stayed popular at school. Jacob came up to me one day, and I've thought about it, and go on a date with me. I used to dream about it, but weirdly enough, at that moment, I didn't feel anything at all. I've thought about it too. My answer is no. I've lost interest in Jacob. Recent events had shown me what he was really like. However, I started dating someone else. Can you guess who it was? Thomas and I spent a lot of time together. We even came up with a plan to get rid of his terrible stepmother. Do you think we can do it?